He makes 415 foot-pounds of torque at 3,000 RPMs. Let's get into it. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the shop. Today we're talking about my favorite topic once again, boost response. Here are 5 more tips how to make your boost response better or your turbo spool faster. Number 1 on the list is a stroker kit, which is what I will be doing for my 4G63 that I have sitting here. I'm going to a 2.2 liter stroker. What does a stroker kit do? It lengthens the stroke of the piston and rod combo. So essentially when your piston comes up, boom, and then comes down, as it comes down farther, thus putting some more air in the chamber, also causing more combustion in the chamber when it does ignite. With this 2.2 liter stroker kit I'm about to do on the Evo, I'm hoping to see boost response improve by 300 to 500 RPM. Let's do a side-by-side example of a stroker versus non-stroker dyno sheet. So here is Mike's at Infinity's Evo dyno sheet, which he has a 2.3 liter stroker, and he makes 415 foot-pounds of torque at 3,000 RPM. Here's my old Evo's dyno sheet, which is fully spooled at about 3,500 RPMs, making about 320 foot-pounds of torque. Both of these setups are on stock turbo, stock intake manifold, and stock exhaust. Both of us are also equally making about 24 pounds of boost on the turbo. And here's the kicker. I'm on E85 with that tune, and he's on 93. Now, granted, it's not exactly comparable if he was on a Mustang dyno and I was on a dyno jet or vice versa. We don't know exactly. But what we do know is how fast the shit spools. By going to a 2.3 stroker, he spooled 500 RPMs faster than the 2 liter did on an exact same stock turbo. The one trade-off when going stroker kit though is so you're increasing that lower RPM torque, you're actually limiting how high of RPM you can rev. For example, fully built 2.0, built head and everything, maybe could spool at 9,000 to 10,000 RPMs on my Evo. When I go to this 2.2 stroker, I'm probably gonna be limited to 8,500 or less. Next on the list is your intake manifold runner. Now, this is not to be confused with a bigger intake. Just the runners themselves. A bigger intake will have more volume. More volume means less velocity, aka spool. And look at how long each runner is. Also, if you're going to increase the runner length, do not increase the diameter as well. Simply just the length. Next on the list is your final drive and gearing ratio. Let's use the Evo's gearing as an example. So stock Evos come with a 4.44 final drive. So the final drive is a torque multiplier. Essentially, the higher the final of the drive, the greater the torque. Now, this is more of a mechanical force to the wheels via the transmission than actually the turbo actually spooling faster to make the power. But any day of the week, the butt dyno will tell you if a higher final drive is torqueier or not. Great example is when I had my Time Attack 2007 WRX wagon. I used to have a 3.7 final drive in it until I blew up third gear, pretty typical for a Subaru 5-speed. And then I upgraded to a JDM 4.44 final drive. And I'm telling you, that butt dyno told me that thing was hitting much harder at the lower RPM. So now the trade-off when you go to a higher final drive ratio, you're actually going to shorten your gear rate. Let's use my Subaru as an example. Say in second gear, I was able to top out at 60 miles an hour. But then when I went to the 4.44 final drive, I was actually only able to top out at maybe 52, 53 miles an hour. That is where a higher final drive can hurt. Say you're on a big track with a really long straight, your overall top mile per hour will be slower at the end of the straight than if you're on the longer gear. And number 4 on the list is VVT, like Myvec, VTEC, or AVCS in Subarus. VVT is pretty much variable valve timing, or variable cam timing as some people call it. And pretty much so on the intake cam, it can adjust and change. So without getting too complex in it, but with the intake cam gear, what they can do is choose to advance and retard it when they want. From the gist of it though, they try to overlap the valve timing on the lower RPMs to kind of produce that faster boost response. This is a prime example versus Evo 8s and Evo 9s. Evo 8s did not come with Myvec, but Evo 9s did. And if you compare a completely tuned stock Evo 8 versus a Evo 9 stock tune, you'll see that it has better boost response. That's just from that variable cam timing, nothing else. Now, I understand this is a little bit more complex of an option to add. It's not for everyone, but if you have a Subaru, an Evo, a Honda, and you can add VVT, you definitely should if you want faster boost response. Now, this last and 5th one is somewhat an opinion of mine and not 100% guaranteed, but it makes sense to me and I'll explain it. I believe your cam size also affects spool as well. well. So let's say you're not actually able to get some VVT in your setup, or it's just too expensive, or it's too much of a hassle. So now the valves can't be tuned to be overlapped and shut or closed at the same time. I believe going to too big of a cam, maybe like a 272 or a 282, will hurt your boost response as well. Essentially, the bigger the cam, the longer the valve is open, and the longer the valve is open, kind of the more pressure is releasing and not as much pressure is building. That's the way I kind of look at it. Bigger cam, valve open longer, less pressure being built. Pressure that could be sent to the turbo quicker and spool faster. All right, just as an overview, the 5 more factors to making your setup spool faster. Number 1, a stroker kit. Number 2, the length of your intake manifold runners. Number 3, the final drive in your drivetrain. Number 4, if you can, get some VVT. And if you can't get VVT, this is just my opinion, is the last one, a smaller cam, a stock cam will spool faster. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you want to see me continue to rebuild this Evo, come next week, and I will start the motor rebuild on this 2.2 liter stroker. Peace out.